Hello, I'm Nobby Clark. Welcome to my workshop. This is really my first video of 2024. We've all gotten past the New Year weekend now, and I just wanted to share with you some new items I've got in the workshop. Two of these were really nice Christmas gifts from members of my family. My eldest son produced a huge box for me with this inside. I had mentioned in a previous video how much I'd like to have a wooden toolbox, but the old fashioned ones, the Moore and Wright ones and similar, are very expensive now and have become more or less a collector's item. But this is a more modern toolbox. It's made under the brand Clark, which is quite well known for quite a lot of tools in people's workshops now. It's a company that's got retail stores all up and down the country in England. This is going to be sort of fantastic for me, and what I've decided to do is to use this to store all of my measuring tools, rulers, micrometers, caliper gauges and so forth, plus a few other extra bits and pieces that I can fit in it. It's made in a similar way to the old-fashioned engineer's toolboxes. You have a lid section here, which you're not going to be able to see into because of the camera angle, but this can be lifted up, and you've got some storage space in the top here, and you've got a series of drawers. This is 9 drawers in this one, some sort of quite deep drawers. They're actually quite deep in depth as well as in height. So you have 3 drawers, same here. You can store lots of things in, and 6 of these shallow drawers. They're all lined in the bottom with a green baize. So having this does mean for me a big reorganisation of the workshop. I already have, I've mentioned in a previous video, 4 metal toolboxes, so I've got to sort of reorganise things quite a lot around the workshop now to find places to put these. I've decided that this wooden toolbox will go on the back of my desk at the front of the workshop, because I often sit here and plan out things. I also have my surface plate up next to the desk as well, so everything's going to be close at hand. I've got something else to show you as well. In fact, a few things, a couple of things which weren't Christmas presents, although I could probably say they were Christmas presents to me. But so bear with me a moment and I'll show you the other things I've got. The next thing I received was from my wife. She says I'm a very difficult person to buy presents for anyway, Christmas and birthday, so she asked me if there's anything I would like, and some years back, quite a number of years back now, she bought me an engine build kit from Myford Boy, which I built that quite a few years back now, and I said I'd quite like to have another engine kit to build. So I looked around the internet to see basically what was on offer. I did look at the Stewart kits, but by the time you buy the kit, add VAT to it and delivery charges, they are actually very expensive indeed. So I checked around to see what else was available, and you can buy in England kits made by PM Research in America. These are available through a seller here in the UK, and I picked out one of these kits, and she very kindly bought it for me. This is the kit. It's the PM Research number 3 kit, and this one slightly different to the Myford Boy kits, where he only supplies you the castings for the flywheel and the frame of the engine. With these kits you actually get everything. There's a cast iron frame or base, which is quite a nice casting. It's obviously going to need quite a bit of machining. I'm not an expert on casting, but I guess this is a sand casting, and probably some form of slightly rougher sand than you see in lots of other products. But a lot of people that have made these said that this sort of rough surface here on the parts that you don't machine will actually give you a very nice finish after they're painted. This the casting actually does appear to have been painted in something or other. I don't actually know what it is. I imagine it's a sort of an undercoat coating that they put on, presumably to stop these from going rusty, because I guess they make lots of these kits and they go into storage and they're shipped to other countries as well, so that sort of protects the casting itself. A lot of the other parts are actually made out of bronze in this kit. I understand there are other options on these kits in the materials they're supplied in, but this one was only available here with bronze casting. So you have a bronze flywheel and a bronze cylinder. The castings here are actually very nice indeed, and within the casting they've got some sort of shapes, if you like, sort of moulded into the surface here as well, so I think they look quite nice when it's machined. Then you get 3 bags of other parts. Here you've got the cam and the 2 ends for the cylinder, and sort of the 2 guide strips here as well, and these are all bronze. Then you also get another bag with some steel and brass bits, round brass and steel stock, and a couple of hexagonal pieces as well to machine up for the various parts, and a small bag of hardware as well, piston rings and various bits of packing material, little grub screws. The screws in this one are I think called SAE standard. They're 540 screws. I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to use the screws that come with it, because I quite like screws with hexagonal heads, and I like using brass screws as well in some of the engines I've built, so I may very well buy some screws to replace these, probably brass ones. The 540 size screws are approximately 1/8 of an inch screws, so I'll look around and see what I can get. It might actually be easier to find the screws I want in BA size, so I'll just measure these up and see what the nearest BA size screw is to these, so I've got plenty of time to sort that out. It comes also with all the plans. You get one A3 size drawing here showing the assemblies of the engine and the list of all the parts that come with it, and then you've got the large sheet of plans here. these, which fold out as a huge piece of paper. I'll only show those briefly because I imagine that, like everything else, these plans are all copyrighted as well. So I wanted to say copyright on here, so I don't want to sort of show those in front of camera and upset someone. But what I've done since I got this is checked on YouTube for anyone else that's built this particular engine. I found a couple of YouTubers in America that have made this. One of them, in fact, at the introduction of his video, said he has made one of these before, and the video series he shows is, he said, the second one he's built. So I'll have a look at those, you know, for sort of various tips on how to set things up. Most things I'm sure I can figure out for myself anyway, but it's nice to see how other people make them. And in fact, when I made the Myford Boy engine, I did watch his construction videos on building it, and also the series that Emma Ritson did on building the same engine as well. One of the American YouTubers suggested was that an easy way to follow the construction, and I guess because the planes here are so large, and also to keep the original planes here nice and clean, would be to photocopy them. So what my wife very kindly did was, on the large planes, copied them in sections, like this, in sections. Each section of the construction is in like a sort of little box. So what I'm going to do is to cut them out and put them into a folder or a book, so I can have that on the back of the bench while I'm constructing the engine. That'll make it easier to follow. When I made the Myford Boy engine, his plans were, there's quite a lot of plans and a lot of build notes as well, which were very, very useful. So we photocopied all of those, and during construction I did need to make, and I'm sure with this one, lots of notes on the plans as well. So rather than destroying the originals that came with the engine, I can keep those in my workshop notes indoors, and keep them sort of nice and clean. I'm quite excited to have this. I will try and film some of the construction and machining of this and put them on my channel. It's a bit difficult really for me with things like this, filming it, because I'm a newcomer to workshop practice and machining, so I'm very, very slow in everything I do, and I may just show some very, very short sequences of what I'm doing. I'm not going to start the construction of this for a while, because as you can see, I'm dressed in very, very heavy warm clothing today, because it's only 7 degrees in the workshop at the moment. So I'm going to wait for slightly warmer weather when I can come in the workshop more often and sort of concentrate on building this. So hopefully that's something that I will be able to show and share in the future. I'll now sort of move on to showing a couple of things that I actually bought for the workshop, things that I did actually want in the workshop. I think it's one item I've been looking around for quite a while, so bear with me just a moment and I'll show you these items as well. The other items I picked up recently are these two. I'll show you that one in a moment. This is a moving steady or floating steady to go on the carriage of the Myford lathe. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with these and what the usage of them is. I've been looking around for one of these for quite a long time, because what I wanted was a genuine Myford one. But I actually picked this one up at quite an affordable price recently. It's It is a genuine Myford version with the bronze guides here. These are obviously still available from Myford. I mean, buying them from Myford, they're something like about £95, but this was only a fraction of that price. I already have a fixed steady. I mean, I've had this for quite a long time. I bought this not long after I got the Myford lathe, and I have used this on quite a number of occasions now when I've been machining very long pieces of round stock in the Myford. Problem with the Myford that I have, it's the small bore version, which means that larger diameter materials can only go in as far as the back of the jaws on the chuck, so long pieces do need supporting, and this is a very, very useful thing to have. But machining small diameter pieces of material, the problem you have is that the cutting tool obviously can put pressure on very, very thin round stock and actually push it away from the cutting tool. So this would give you support for very thin pieces of material, which would sort of press into these two fingers here. I'm going to move the camera around onto the Myford lathe so I can just show these items again for anyone that's not familiar with this in particular, where it actually fits. So bear with me just a moment. The moving steady fits onto this part of the carriage here, and under where this bolt is in the carriage, there's already a threaded hole there, which is normally has a little grub screw in it so that swarf doesn't fall down into the hole and block the hole off, which would sort of make it sort of difficult to remove. So that's just screwed firmly into place, and with you see I've just put a piece of aluminium in here. Then the idea is that you bring the fingers themselves down against the piece of metal here, and also on the other side, and then they can be locked into place. There's some little nuts on the other side here that you can lock them in position with, so that when you're moving the carriage along for machining, these fingers sort of ride along the back and top of the material, so that when you've got a cutting tool in position, let's just pop one on here, and that's being run along the material. Obviously, as you use the cross slide to bring the cutting tool across, with very, very thin pieces of metal here, there's a tendency for it to push the material away, meaning that you don't get a perfectly parallel cut along thin pieces of material. And this can happen with large bits of material as well, if you're making sort of quite heavy cuts. But that's basically how it works. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but for anyone that's not seen one of these mounted on the lathe before, that's how that works. So it's going to be a very, very useful addition to my Myford accessories as well. I was gradually buying various bits and pieces for the Myford over the years since I've had the Myford, which I bought in, I think it was 2016 or 2017. But what I really wanted was to have a genuine Myford one. I know that there are copies of the fixed and moving steadies made by, I think mostly made by companies in India, possibly in China as well, and you could buy a brand new one from one of those suppliers for just a little bit more than what I paid for this. But I thought, well, no, I don't really mind. I thought it's so nice to have genuine parts for the lathe, so that's really why I opted for this one. I was quite pleased to get it. It was being sold by an elderly gentleman that was also selling a Myford ML7 lathe with a lot of accessories as well. Quite Weiss was selling the moving standard separately. I don't know, but I benefited from this, so I'm not going to complain. The second item that I bought for myself is something which I'm hoping is going to solve a problem that I've had with the Myford lathe, in that if you have a piece of material installed here ready for machining, and particularly this problem cropped up when I was machining some tapers. There were only very shallow tapers, which meant that the top slide here was only at a very slight angle, and to support the material I was using a revolving steady against the material here, that to give me enough movement of the top slide, the edge of the top slide here was hitting the tailstock. It's a problem I've had a few times, even using the quill fairly well extended. This can be extended to about 2.5 inches safely, but still this was hitting here, and the only remedy I had for that was moving the cutting tool further out of the holder, which is not ideal. You really want the cutting edge to be as near to the end of the tool holder itself, so there's no possibility of flexing here on the end of the cutting tool. The other day I was watching a YouTube video where it was an accessory that someone was using. I thought, well, this would actually answer my problem, and basically what it was a Morse Taper 2 extension. This is Morse Taper 2 here and here as well. And I thought, well, if I use that in the tailstock and the revolving centre there, that's going to move the tailstock much further away, so that I can have full movement of the carriage without any danger of this clashing with the tailstock. With that sort of locked in place, it all seems pretty. I've not knocked these in tightly into here, but it doesn't seem to be any movement in this. I've sort of checked this out beforehand, but this is going to be the answer to a problem I've had a number of times with machining, and not only with tapers but in other instances as well. With the top slide set for cutting a taper, of course the top slide is twisted that way into the work, so it's putting this edge even closer to the side of the tailstock itself. So I think that is going to be a good solution, really. So I'm sort of quite pleased that I was made aware of these. I knew that there were all sorts of adapters from different sizes of Morse tapers, and in fact I have a couple of these already. One which you can use a Morse Taper 2 in a Morse Taper 3, which I need sometimes for the Chinese mini lathe, because on that one the headstock's Morse Taper 3, the tailstock Morse Taper 2, but on the Myford it's Morse Taper 2 at both ends, tailstock and headstock. And I also have a Morse Taper 2 to Morse Taper 1, which I use for a lot of the Morse Taper 1 drills that I have as well. So I use that quite often. and also use that for some of the small reamers. I've got a couple of reamers which are Morse Taper 1. So being sort of aware of this, it is going to solve a problem for me. So now I've got that on hand. It's not dreadfully expensive. I mean, you can pay a lot of money for these. It's just a matter of looking at who's got perhaps the best price on them, because they all are, I'm sure, the same. A lot of them probably came from the same factory in China as well. So you're just finding one where it's a sort of a reasonable cost. And it's beautifully machined and ground. It has a slot here for a drift, so you can knock the revolving centre out. Obviously this end is knocked out by drawing the quill back into the tailstock, which you're probably aware of anyway. But I thought I'd just show you that, because you may, like myself, come up against a problem like this yourself, and you're sort of puzzling, you know, how you can get round the problem. So I think this is going to be a very, very useful accessory to have. Anyway, that's basically it from me. I've shown you my Christmas presents and my presents to me. So there we are. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and thank you also for all the subscribers to the channel and all the comments that I've received recently. It's very nice to hear from people with tips and advice as well, and sort of very nice comments to what I'm doing in the workshop as well. Anyway, I hope to have another video for you. Because the weather is very cold, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to get into the workshop at the early part of the year, but I'll do my best and try and produce a Sunday video for you as often as I can. Anyway, thanks very much indeed, and bye bye for now.